When palliative care nurse Bronnie Ware spent years working with patients in their final weeks of life, she started asking them about their regrets. She found that patients consistently cited leaving their dreams and wishes unfulfilled as their greatest burden. These dreams are rarely abandoned because of laziness or a sudden catastrophe. Instead, Ware discovered that most people let their goals slip away while their lives were being consumed by the sheer volume of daily busyness. Long before the age of modern burnout, Henry David Thoreau observed that simply being busy is an inadequate measure of a life. Even ants are busy. The real metric is what precisely we are busy with. To avoid the weight of unfulfilled goals at the end of the line, you have to recognize the difference between mere motion and actual progress. It starts by refusing to treat every task as equally important. Humans are cognitively wired for present bias. If you're offered $100 today or $500 next year, your instinct favors the immediate, smaller reward. Because distant goals look smaller to our brains, we struggle to value them properly in the moment. This bias dictates your workday. Faced with a difficult project that could define your career, you likely opt for the quick dopamine hit of clearing an inbox full of meaningless emails. It provides a sense of accomplishment, but it's an illusion that prevents you from reaching the mountain peak of your long-term goals. A Russian proverb warns that if you chase two rabbits at once, you'll catch neither. Dividing your attention doesn't just slow you down, it often ensures you come up empty-handed. This internal struggle is often described as a battle between two wolves. One wolf is driven by fear and reactive distraction, while the other is fueled by focus and action. The wolf that wins the fight is the one you choose to feed every day. Trying to tackle everything at once ensures your energy is spread too thin to ever capture the goals that matter most. When focus is diluted, the probability of achieving an extraordinary result drops to nearly zero. An average to-do list is usually just a brain dump of random tasks in the order they occur to you. Highly successful people use a success list instead, a strictly curated path built backward from a specific, massive goal. When J.K. Rowling conceptualized the Harry Potter series, she didn't just start writing. Before drafting a single word of the first chapter, she mapped out 7 full years of the Hogwarts timeline. She built the entire world before she ever invited a reader into it. Sam Walton applied the same logic to Walmart. Long before his first local store became a household name, he was drafting complex estate tax plans for the massive corporate empire he intended to build. To find this level of clarity in your own life, you need the focusing question. What is the one thing I can do, such that by doing it, everything else will be easier or unnecessary? Extraordinary success emerges when you reverse engineer a massive vision into a single, hyper-focused daily action. Protecting your focus is often more difficult than finding it. It requires time defense. For some, this means blocking out 4 uninterrupted hours every morning. One executive assistant physically moved into an empty meeting room for an entire week just to train her colleagues to stop interrupting her. Once she established that boundary, her productivity reached new levels. You also have to consider your social defense. Research out of Harvard on obesity and social contagion shows that our personal habits are deeply influenced by our closest friends. If the people around you lack focus, you will likely struggle to maintain yours. This leads to the most difficult defensive tactic, the power of saying no. Truly committing to a single goal requires you to turn down hundreds of other perfectly good opportunities. When Steve Jobs returned to Apple in 1997, he took a failing, sprawling company and cut its product line from 350 items down to just 10. He understood that focus isn't just about what you do, it's about what you choose to ignore. Truly saying yes to your ultimate life goal requires the courage to say no to the thousands of distractions that look like opportunities. In this model, productivity is just the visible tip of an iceberg. It is entirely held up by a massive, hidden underwater base of purpose and priority. Without that foundation, the output eventually collapses. There's a story about a father who tried to keep his young son busy by giving him a puzzle. He took a full-page newspaper advertisement of a complex world map, cut it into dozens of jagged pieces, and asked the boy to tape it back together. The father expected to have hours of quiet. But just a few minutes later, the boy returned with the map perfectly reassembled. The boy explained that it was actually very easy. He had noticed a picture of a single person printed on the back of the map. Instead of trying to piece together the entire complex world, he just focused on putting the person together. When the person was right, the map of the world fell into place on its own. Instead of managing the overwhelming world map of your life, identify your one single priority. When you focus on getting that central piece right, the rest of the picture begins to make sense.